What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Matt Llewellyn, and today we're going to be talking about 49ers injuries yet again and what it means for 2021. Matt, today, Adam Schefter reported that 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo is expected to be sidelined indefinitely with a high ankle sprain. And on top of that, George Kittle is expected to miss I think Ian Rappaport quoted 8 weeks. However, it's unsure if he'll return to the 49ers at all this season. What does this mean moving forward?
It throws the whole team's future in flux, particularly with the Jimmy Garoppolo thing, because the wording indefinitely, and there was some people speculating that he might do the tightrope surgery thing that Tua did, which doesn't make sense for the injury that he had, considering he was able to walk off the field under his own power. This, to me, man, it really looks like the 49ers are up to here with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think they might be done with him, to be honest. To just automatically call, an indefinite, just he's not going to play indefinitely, and they're probably going to stick him on IR right off the bat, tells me that you're kind of punting on the season a little bit. You're kind of giving up. At 4-4, you think they're still in a down NFC. They should be right in it, but I think that the 49ers brass, Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, they know that, this is not going to get it done with as many injuries as they have, and I think they want to take the opportunity to retool this roster, whether that's getting another quarterback in the first round of the draft, which I think a lot of people think they should do, or whether that's reclaiming somebody like a Sam Darnold or something like that. The wording indefinitely with a high ankle sprain when there's still 9 weeks left in the season, you're just automatically just saying, no, that's it, he's done. I don't know, man. That sounds like they're giving up on him as a starting quarterback. So I know the speculation's wild. I know a lot of people are kind of feeling that, and I know that we had some not so kind things to say about Jimmy and how he's been playing, which has not been good enough. But it's just weird to see. And as far as Kittle goes, I don't think he's going to return this season. 8 weeks puts him in for the last game of the season. And I mean, it's going to depend on how they do. I guess if they're in line for a playoff shot, then yeah, sure, they're going to bring him back. But if Mullins is going to Mullins and they're going to be out of contention, then definitely not. It seems almost, again, it's just disappointing, man, because it seems like that we're 8 weeks in and the season's over, and this is just like the end of 2020 has it can't come fast enough, because this has just been one ugly year from top to bottom, starting with the Super Bowl loss back in February all the way through to this. It's been one long year, and I think that this year is going to lead to major changes and a major shakeup in the player personnel for the 49ers.
Yeah, when I read this, because it kind of got right after the Quan Alexander news, this came out, and I thought, okay, I agree with you. They're likely punting on the season, and my logic for this is, I can totally imagine Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch getting together and saying, okay, look, we make the playoffs this year, maybe go one game or two, then what? What happens after that? What's our long-term plan? Mm-hmm. Right now, there's no long-term plan. Jimmy Garoppolo, I think, just like you said, Matt, I think that they're aware he's not the guy. He's not the guy they were hoping him to be. He's not the guy they were hoping he would become. He's, and ironically enough, today's his 29th birthday as we're recording this. Yeah. He's 29 already. If he's not the quarterback you wanted to be at that age, when is he going to become that? He's had plenty of time, plenty of opportunities. And I think that Kyle Shanahan may have said, let's go get our guy. This is an opportunity that we can use, similar to when Jimmy tore his ACL. That netted us Nick Bosa. We became a better team overall. Yeah, we sacrificed the year in the short term, but in the long term, we felt like we were a better team. We felt like we were able to compete. And if Jimmy Garoppolo had turned out differently, they're likely still talking about competing long term. They're still talking about that Super Bowl window. However, that hasn't panned out for them. So I think that that's how they saw it, and maybe they could have had Jimmy come back or, said, oh, it's just 3 weeks, like they said in week 2 when he got injured, they didn't automatically say indefinitely. That wording, I agree with you, was totally strange to me because it was like, that was telling, I think, right then and there. And as far as George Kittle, I don't want to see him come back. I mean, for what? Just to get further injured? Right. And, the foot, it seems like a pretty vital part for a tight end. You got to plant, you got to be able to, take hits, to land on it. So if he's going to come back for a week or two, I mean, if the season's lost, just rest, just prepare for 2021, come back with Nick Bosa and a plethora of other players who are injured and prepare for next year, because this season to me is already lost. I mean, I'm already looking forward to March so we can get to the draft. So I don't know, maybe I'm the only one thinking that.
No, I'm looking at the draft too. And we talk about Jimmy, and this is something that I want to make clear. There's another aspect to this other than his inconsistent play that I think needs to be looked at here. And that's the fact that his body just does not seem to be able to hold up under a grind of the NFL. When he was in New England filling in for Tom Brady for Deflategate, he hurt his shoulder the second week, missed time, and then Jacoby Brissett had to come in. Tears his ACL with the 49ers. Now it's a high ankle sprain. He's missed more games than he's played, it seems like. And that's just, it's one thing if you're like a running back. David Johnson has struggled with injuries, but that's a super physical position, right? You can't have your quarterback missing what is now, if he misses the rest of the season, I think that since 2017 it'll be 24 games that he's missed. He missed 13 with the ACL. This will be 9 because he missed a game earlier, right? And then he missed the 2 in New England. That's 24 games in the last 5 seasons. And it's not, you can't win with that. You can't win with a guy who is that oft injured at the quarterback position. Again, if we're going to rail on Quan Alexander and Dee Ford for their not being available, the same thing applies to Jimmy Garoppolo when he's making what now is a more reasonable amount, but it's still premium money at a premium position, and now you can get out from under that contract for under $3 million and hopefully go and get your guy. Now, I don't want it to be, the typical Kyle Shanahan guy where it's like Sam Ehlinger in like the 4th round or whatever, right? He does that. And, I think it's high time that the taste of passing Aaron Rodgers for, Alex Smith it's been long enough. I think it's time that they go high, especially in a deep quarterback draft, and get a guy in the 1st round. I know we were talking about cornerback, but it's very clear that Jimmy Garoppolo is not the guy, not long-term. Something has to be done. If a team can be carried by their quarterback, like, there are teams that get carried by. Seattle's a perfect example. Russell Wilson carries that team, overcomes a terrible defense, an atrocious defense, and they're 6-1 because he's so good. And it's been far too long since the 49ers have had top shelf quarterback play. We're talking Steve Young, where you've had Hall of Fame caliber quarterback play. So I think it's high time the 49ers spent draft capital. I mean, think about it. Alex Smith is literally the 49ers only, actual tenured first round quarterback that they've had in their franchise history, essentially. Montana was 3rd round. Steve Young was traded from the Buccaneers. Like, Kaepernick was a 2nd round guy. Jim Druckenmiller was a 1st round pick, but he was a bust. So, I mean, what have they been working with? And it's time. Spend a premium pick on a premium position. We've been saying that all year in terms of where they could go in the draft. Get rid of some guys, shed some salary, maybe recoup some picks, get some more picks. They're at 9 right now, and move on. And, again, it's very important. It's, because we're talking about the injuries, but the wording with the injuries is so important, like we touched on, and indefinitely. I don't know, man. That word, it's a word that just sets something off in the back of my mind that, and you can see it on Kyle's face on game day. He's just like, seriously? After the interception, you could see them having a dialogue between each other. And Kyle Shanahan just looked like he was done, like he was fed up. And it's kind of like Jimmy's like, oh yeah, I know, yeah, and it's just like, well, we can't have that. We can't have that, especially every week we see all this beautiful quarterback play around the league, and then we get the Jimmy throws. I think that the fan base, I think that the team, I think that everybody deserves better. And I'm sorry that it wasn't Jimmy Garoppolo. No knock on the guy. He seems like a great leader and a great teammate. But you have to produce. And if you're not producing, then what are we really doing here? So, he turns the ball over at a rate of like once a game, at least. That's not good enough. It's not good enough.
Nope.
As for Kittle, save him. But he's a franchise player, and there's no reason to rush him back.
Saran wrap him, put him up on the shelf, wait for next season. There was something that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, fortunately, it seems like because they missed the break on the first X-ray, when they did further testing, they found a small break. So fortunately, it's probably not anything that's going to be long-term or require surgery or anything. It's not going to be like a Trent Taylor or a Deebo Samuel where they had to have surgery. It seems like it's something that could just heal on its own. So that's good. But yeah, don't rush them back. This season's kind of lost anyway. Just, let the chips fall where they may, get some better draft position and look to the future.
Yeah, totally. I heard something from Mark Schlereth, however you pronounce his last name, during the broadcast yesterday that I thought was actually really interesting. And I think it completely represents the disconnect between Jimmy Garoppolo, Kyle Shanahan, and the 49ers organization as a whole, where he said, look, I talked to Kyle and I said, how's Jimmy? And he said, oh, he's good to go. He's fully healthy. The ankle's good. It's all healed up. He goes, but then I talked to Jimmy and Jimmy said, no, I'm still hurting. My ankle's still in pain. I'm still not 100%. And I think that that's a perfect representation of what's going on here. And we've talked about this before, Matt, where as a player, you never want a coach to have to question, is he really injured? Is that guy really in pain? And I saw some fans yesterday kind of questioning it. As soon as Jimmy starts playing bad, oh, that ankle, but it was fine for the last 2 weeks, right? When he was playing well in air quotes.
Well,
so it's interesting to see. And I think that once I heard Mark Schlereth say that, I kind of could see the writing on the wall because there's some bad blood there. And even after that, in the post game, I saw Eric Branch tweeted out, we asked Kyle Shanahan what the deal with Jimmy is and how if we could ask him about his ankle. And he said, yeah, I'll let you guys ask Jimmy. Well, Jimmy never came out. There was never a Jimmy interview. So he never came out for his press conference. So if there was scheduled to have one. So I just feel like something's going on with him and the team to where the bad blood is there. And I think it's more evident now than ever.
Yeah. It's readily apparent that Kyle's fed up with Jimmy. I mean, it's the little things, and we all know. We all can see it. We all know the type of person that Kyle is when you see a lot of his interviews and stuff. That he's petty like that. So, what the future holds with the Niners, who knows? But these injuries have kind of killed this season, sadly.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. It was a bright year. We should have known when Nick Bosa went down and we had 2 players tear their ACLs in 3 snaps. That should have been the writing on the wall for us, man. That sucked. But I think that's going to do it for us today, guys. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, support a channel like ours, hit that like button, and drop a comment below. What do you think about these injuries? I'm sure you're just as bummed as we are. Do you think that it's a sign as the 49ers are going to be kind of prepping for next year and shutting it down? Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below.
Go ahead and click the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. And until next time, go Niners.